Though many viewers saw Beverly Hillbillies as lighthearted and entertaining during its original run in 1962, the atmosphere behind the scenes was quite different. The chemistry that appeared on screen often masked the tension and conflict that existed among the cast members. Personalities clashed, leading to disagreements that sometimes spilled over into their work. Actors who portrayed beloved characters did not always share the same affection for one another offstage. Moments that seemed fun and spontaneous to audiences were sometimes marred by friction. This disconnect between the on-screen camaraderie and off-screen animosity contributed to a uniquely charged environment. For some, this dynamic created challenges that influenced how they approached their roles and interacted with each other. The reality of their relationships was far from what fans imagined, revealing a darker side to the beloved series. Though they seemed to be a happy family on TV, behind the scenes the cast of the Beverly Hillbillies often battled with much squabbling among the hillbilly group. Nancy Culp, who played the role of Miss Jane Hathaway, often clashed with other cast members, reflecting the tension that sometimes arose on the set. Despite the on-set disagreements, the show became a beloved classic, showcasing the humorous adventures of the Clampett family after their sudden move to Beverly Hills. Buddy Ebsen, who portrayed Jed Clampett, was a multi-talented actor known for his dancing abilities and engaging personality. His background in performing arts allowed him to shine in various ways. Not only did he excel in acting, but he could also sing country music, which added depth to his character on the series. Ebsen's rich talents contributed significantly to the show's charm and entertainment value, making it a favorite amongst viewers. The dynamics between the cast members and the unique talents of individuals like Buddy Ebsen made the series memorable. While working on the Beverly Hillbillies, Max Baer Jr., known for his role as Jethro Bodine, formed a close friendship with fellow actor Sharon Tate, who played Janet Trigo. Their bond was evident both on and off the screen, fostering a respectful and loving atmosphere during the show's production. This camaraderie greatly contributed to the show's charm and made it enjoyable for cast and crew alike. However, as the series progressed into its latter seasons, a more serious issue began to emerge. Raymond Bailey, who portrayed Mr. Drysdale, started to show signs of Alzheimer's disease. This decline in his health became more pronounced in the final episodes, affecting not only his performance but also the overall dynamic on set. Despite the challenges, the caring environment created by the cast, especially the strong friendship between Baer and Tate, helped to maintain a sense of camaraderie. The show remained beloved through its blend of humor and heart, showcasing both the challenges and the joys of life. Max Baer Jr. engaged in a legal battle against CBS when he discovered that a restaurant chain was using his name without his permission. This unexpected situation arose due to the fame and popularity of his character, Jethro Bodine, on the hit television show The Beverly Hillbillies. Baer, motivated to protect his identity and reputation, pursued the case and ultimately won. This victory not only secured his rights, but also established a clear understanding in the entertainment industry regarding the use of names and likenesses. In addition to Baer's legal issues, the show was well known for the antics involving Granny's chair, a beloved prop. Typically, this chair was fastened to the back of the family vehicle as Jethro drove along, creating many humorous situations. Although it appeared that Granny's chair was tightly linked to the family's adventures, it was actually Cousin Pearl who owned the car. This detail adds a layer of family dynamics and comedic charm to the series, showcasing the quirky interactions among relatives. The use of such props and the interplay of characters like Jethro and Granny helped solidify the show's charm, contributing to its enduring legacy in television history. As the Beverly Hillbillies gained popularity, it reflected the financial success of its main character, Jed Clampett, who struck it rich when he discovered oil. The show's humor and charm resonated with audiences, turning its cast into household names. The series earned over $100 million by the end of its run, a testament to its widespread appeal and clever writing. Paul Henning, the show's creator, played a significant role in shaping its narrative and characters, drawing inspiration from rural life. To film the pilot, Henning found a suitable location at Kirby Mansion, spending only $500. This decision would help establish the iconic setting that became synonymous with the show. After its conclusion, the mansion changed ownership, being sold to Jerry Perenchio, who likely recognized its cultural significance. The legacy of the Beverly Hillbillies remains strong, capturing the spirit of its era and proving that timely themes of wealth and family could resonate across generations. Max Baer Jr. had no issues dressing up, and portraying Jethro's twin sister Jethryn, creating a memorable character that added humor to the series. While Max appeared in the Jethryn costume, it was Linda Henning, Paul Henning's daughter, who provided Jethryn's voice, bringing the character to life with her unique vocal talent. This clever arrangement helped maintain the comedic essence of the show, while also showcasing Max's versatility as an actor. The theme song, The Ballad of Jed Clampett, became iconic. Sung by Jerry Scoggins, the song introduced the Clampett family to viewers and set the tone for the series. With music composed by the talented duo Flat and Scruggs, the catchy tune quickly gained popularity, reaching number 44 on the Billboard Hot 100 in its debut year. The song's playful lyrics told the story of Jed Clampett's fortune and life changes, contributing to the show's charm and appeal. The combination of clever character portrayals and memorable music helped the Beverly Hillbillies become a beloved classic. During the run of the Beverly Hillbillies, Nancy Culp, known for her role as Miss Jane Hathaway, decided to step away from her acting career after 9 years. She made this choice to pursue her political ambitions, running as the Democratic candidate for Pennsylvania's U.S. House of Representatives. Culp's shift from television to politics highlighted her desire to make a difference and serve her community in a different capacity. Meanwhile, the show itself enjoyed substantial support from Kellogg's, a major sponsor whose products were prominently displayed in the opening credits. This sponsorship was not just a financial backing, but also a reflection of the show's immense popularity. Viewers associated the fun and laughter of the series with Kellogg's. The interplay between Culp's political aspirations and Kellogg's sponsorship added a layer of intrigue to the show's legacy, connecting entertainment and civic duty in a unique way as both the series and Culp left a lasting impression in their respective fields. The series became a cultural touchstone, exemplifying the era's values and humor, while Culp's political endeavors showcased her commitment to effects beyond entertainment. While the original series captivated audiences with its charm and humor, the attempt to revive the Beverly Hillbillies in a film spin-off in 1993 did not bring the same success. Almost 30 years after the show's first airing, this movie version was met with harsh criticism. Many viewers and critics deemed it one of the worst films ever made, indicating that the humor and storytelling that once resonated with fans had not translated well to the big screen. Despite the attempts to capture the essence of the original series, it fell flat and failed to engage audiences, leaving a tarnished mark on the beloved franchise. Meanwhile, Sharon Tate, a notable actress of her time, made a memorable appearance in the series as Janet Trigo. For her role, she chose to disguise herself by wearing a brunette wig, which added a unique touch to her character and showcased her versatile acting ability. Her performance contributed to the show's overall appeal, even as the 1993 film would struggle to connect with fans of the original series. During his career, Buddy Ebsen was familiar to audiences for various roles, notably in the film Breakfast at Tiffany's. This particular film showcased his talent and led to his casting as Jed Clampett in the television series The Beverly Hillbillies, which became a hit in the 1960s. The character of Jed Clampett, a simple yet kind-hearted man who struck oil and moved his family to Beverly Hills, became an iconic representation of American humor and culture at the time. Many viewers admired Ebsen's performance, which combined charm with a down-to-earth persona. Prior to taking on the role in the Beverly Hillbillies, Ebsen had considered retiring from acting. However, the opportunity to play Jed renewed his passion for the craft and kept him in the spotlight. Despite his initial plans after years in the industry, he embraced the popularity of the show and remained active in entertainment for several years after. His role on the series left a lasting legacy, influencing many who followed in his footsteps and highlighting the complexities of life in a comedic setting. Reported drama unfolded concerning Sonny, who was alleged to be Margaret Dale's son, though he was mistakenly identified as a Dale in the program. Despite this confusion, the Beverly Hillbillies quickly captured the attention of audiences and became a remarkable success. Within just 3 weeks of its debut, the show skyrocketed to the top of the ratings, captivating viewers with its unique blend of humor and quirky storytelling. The rapid rise to fame set television records, showcasing the show's ability to resonate with the public. The fascinating dynamic between the characters, especially the contrast between the wealthy Beverly Hills lifestyle and the rural upbringing of the Clampett family, struck a chord with many. As the series progressed, audiences became more invested in the lives and adventures of the Clampetts. Viewers found joy in watching the family adapt to their new surroundings while remaining true to their roots. Overall, the show's success showcased the power of engaging storytelling and the lasting impact a show can have in a short period. As the show progressed, Max Baer Jr. faced challenges in his acting career due to being typecast as Jethro Bodine. This role, while popular, made it difficult for him to be seen as anything else in Hollywood. Despite his talent and desire to explore various characters, the shadow of Jethro loomed large, limiting the opportunities that came his way. Audiences adored his portrayal, but it confined him to a single persona. Meanwhile, the set of the Beverly Hillbillies was lively and filled with various animals, contributing to its charm. A full-time animal trainer ensured that the critters would perform well alongside the cast. The animals were more than just props. They added a unique element to the show, enhancing the storytelling with their antics. Ellie Mae Clampett, played by Donna Douglas, was particularly at ease with these animals. Her comfort and connection with them brought authenticity to her character and made the interactions feel genuine. The combination of character struggles and animal presence created a memorable atmosphere on set and in viewers' hearts. During the production of the Beverly Hillbillies, the creators faced a pivotal decision in casting the character known as Granny. Initially, they considered Bea Benaderet for the role. However, they ultimately selected Irene Ryan, who effortlessly brought the character of Granny Moses to life. Irene's portrayal was marked by a unique blend of humor and warmth that resonated with audiences. Her comedic timing and distinctive personality helped her become an iconic figure in the series, making Granny one of the beloved characters. Furthermore, the show found a clever way to incorporate elements of cultural significance, especially with the connection to Levi Strauss. The character Ellie Mae Clampett played a crucial role in elevating the Levi Strauss brand, helping to sell more blue jeans than cowboys had purchased in a century. This clever marketing move not only added depth to the storyline, but also showcased the influence of television on popular culture and consumer behavior at the time. The combination of Irene Ryan's dynamic performance and the savvy product placement strategies contributed significantly to the success of the show, leaving an indelible mark on television history. Initially, the sitcom was meant to be called The Hillbillies of Beverly Hills, but it was later shortened to The Beverly Hillbillies, a change that proved to be beneficial in its popularity. The series debuted in 1962 and quickly became a staple of American television, gaining a loyal audience with its humorous portrayal of a poor family from the Ozarks who suddenly found wealth in the affluent neighborhood of Beverly Hills. Max Baer Jr., who played Jethro Bodine, is the only original cast member still alive. His connection to the show remains strong as he retains sub-licensing rights to food and slot machines associated with the Beverly Hillbillies. After all these years, he has ambitions to create themed casinos and restaurants that celebrate the series' legacy and charm. This venture aims to capture the essence of the show while integrating it into modern entertainment. There is a nostalgia associated with the show and character that Baer wishes to bring into these new projects, offering fans not just a taste of the past, but an experience that dwells on the delightful comedic moments that made the show a classic. Ultimately, as time moves on, the influence of the Beverly Hillbillies continues through Baer's entrepreneurial efforts, seeking to keep the spirit of the beloved series alive for new generations to enjoy. Despite their on-screen chemistry, Buddy Ebsen and Nancy Kulp did not enjoy a warm relationship behind the scenes of the Beverly Hillbillies. Their political differences led to tension, with Ebsen even undermining Kulp's political campaign. Their opposing views created an atmosphere that made working together more challenging than it might have otherwise been. Kulp was known for her active involvement in politics, which clashed with Ebsen's more conservative beliefs. This discord was not just a minor issue. It affected their interactions and the overall dynamic on set, illustrating how personal beliefs can impact professional relationships. On another note, in 1936, Buddy Ebsen, along with his twin sister Vilma, arrived in Los Angeles. Their journey began when they were cast in a production of Broadway Melody, which was a significant moment for both siblings. This marked the beginning of Buddy's rise to stardom. His talents soon caught the attention of Hollywood producers, leading to a flourishing career. Meanwhile, Vilma's journey in Hollywood also unfolded, showcasing the bond that these siblings shared as they navigated the ups and downs of the entertainment industry. Their arrival in LA set the stage for what would become a lasting legacy in television history, particularly with Buddy's iconic role in the Beverly Hillbillies. The 1962 TV series The Beverly Hillbillies featured an iconic 1921 Oldsmobile Roadster truck, which became a symbol of the show. The truck, known for its classic design, was a central part of the plot, adding a touch of country flair to the otherwise upscale Beverly Hills setting. This unique vehicle was donated to a museum in 1976, ensuring that its legacy lived on long after the show ended. The Oldsmobile remained one of the most memorable props in television history, helping solidify the show's place in pop culture. Buddy Ebsen, who portrayed Jed Clampett on the show, had a fascinating early career before hitting it big in the Beverly Hillbillies. He worked with two of Hollywood's biggest stars, Judy Garland and Shirley Temple. Ebsen's early years in entertainment were filled with dancing and musical performances, which earned him significant recognition. His most notable early casting was as the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz, a role he was excited about. However, he was eventually replaced by Ray Bolger, and instead, Ebsen ended up becoming the Tin Man in the classic film. Ebsen's early experience in Hollywood gave him the skills and charm that made him a beloved figure on the Beverly Hillbillies, where his portrayal of Jed Clampett resonated with audiences for its humor. John Wayne made a cameo appearance in the 5th season of the Beverly Hillbillies, a moment that delighted fans and added to the charm of the show. His appearance was brief but memorable, with the iconic actor being compensated with a fifth of bourbon for his attendance. This quirky form of payment was a testament to the laid-back nature of the show and its unique sense of humor. Wayne's cameo was just one of many instances where big Hollywood names would cross paths with the Clampett family, adding an extra layer of fun and celebrity appeal to the series. On the other hand, Donna Douglas, who played the beloved character Ellie Mae Clampett, was already well known for her beauty before joining the cast of the Beverly Hillbillies. She had been a beauty queen, having won titles like Miss Baton Rouge and Miss New Orleans. Her striking looks and charm made her the perfect fit for the role of Ellie Mae, the sweet, naive, and physically strong daughter of Jed Clampett. Donna's background in pageants likely contributed to her natural poise and captivating screen presence, which made her portrayal of Ellie Mae stand out on the show. Both John Wayne's cameo and Donna Douglas' beauty were integral to the continued popularity of the Beverly Hillbillies, helping the series maintain its spot as one of the most beloved sitcoms of its time. The Beverly Hillbillies, a popular TV series that began in 1962, became a household name for its humorous portrayal of rural folk, striking it rich and moving to the lavish surroundings of Beverly Hills. It captured the lives of the Clampett family, Jed, the patriarch, his daughter Ellie Mae, the dim-witted but lovable Jethro, and their wise and quirky granny. The show was initially celebrated for its ability to blend slapstick comedy with sharp satire, appealing to both urban and rural audiences. It not only entertained viewers, but also highlighted the contrast between the simple values of the country and the complexity of city life. However, after nearly a decade of success, the show's run came to an end in 1971. CBS executive Fred Silverman made the decision to discontinue the Beverly Hillbillies, believing that the series had lost its charm and relevance to contemporary audiences. By this time, television tastes were shifting toward new forms of entertainment, and some believed the show's humor was becoming outdated. The decision was a surprise to many, considering the show had maintained strong ratings for years. Despite its decline in popularity, the impact of the Beverly Hillbillies on American pop culture remains significant, and it is still remembered fondly by many viewers as a classic of early television. The Beverly Hillbillies, which first aired in 1962, remains a quintessential sitcom that has managed to endure through the decades. The series introduces viewers to Jed Clampett, a country bumpkin who strikes oil and relocates his family to Beverly Hills, only to continue their rural ways amidst the urban elite. The show thrives on the humorous contrast between the Clampetts' unrefined, simple life and the more sophisticated Beverly Hills lifestyle. One of the central aspects of the series that contributes to its timeless charm is its lovable, albeit eccentric, characters. Granny embodies the superstitious, fiercely independent matriarch whose quirky beliefs often lead to laugh-out-loud situations. Ellie Mae represents a naive yet warm-hearted young woman whose attempts to fit into Beverly Hills often result in comedic outcomes. Jethro, with his self-proclaimed sixth-grade educated brain, adds to the absurdity with his innocent but misguided antics. Together, they create a dynamic that never fails to entertain. The series also benefits from its sharp social commentary, particularly in how it plays with class disparities. Milburn Drysdale, the banker who handles the Clampett family's newfound wealth, and his secretary Jane Hathaway, frequently find themselves at odds with the Clampetts' rustic ways, yet both characters are not without their moments of empathy. toward the family. This tension, combined with the outright absurdity of the Clampetts' adventures, serves as the foundation for much of the show's humor. There are varied opinions about the lasting appeal of the Beverly Hillbillies. Some argue that it remains a classic because of its straightforward humor and clever character dynamics, noting that the show's rural roots, paired with its timeless gags, are still relatable today. On the flip side, some critics point to the less savory aspects of the characters, particularly Jed Clampett's seeming generosity, which can be critiqued as almost condescending. His charity often extends to strangers, yet the series also shows moments where Jed keeps Pearl's truck for years without paying rent, raising questions about the true nature of his generosity. These nuances in his character portray a contradiction between kindness and selfishness, which adds layers to the otherwise simplistic portrayal of rural life. Another aspect to consider is the show's portrayal of the rural-urban divide. While some see the Beverly Hillbillies as a gentle and harmless satire of rural America, others criticize it for playing into stereotypes. The Clampetts are depicted as well-meaning but naive, and out of touch with the modern world, often leaving the viewer to question whether the show is celebrating or poking fun at their lifestyle. Despite this, the show maintains a sense of endearment, largely because of the unconditional love and loyalty among the characters. The ongoing debate between the Beverly Hillbillies and Green Acres often places the two shows in opposition, but in truth, each has its own unique charm. While some fans argue that Green Acres is a timeless garbage counterpart to the Beverly Hillbillies, both series tap into similar rural versus urban comedy. The Beverly Hillbillies is seen by many as more universally appealing, with its characters feeling warm and familiar, even if they're exaggerated in their simplicity. In conclusion, the Beverly Hillbillies offers a blend of heart and humor that makes it one of television's enduring classics. Its mix of colorful characters, situational comedy, and subtle critiques of social class dynamics continue to entertain audiences today. Whether you appreciate its straightforward humor or find it problematic in its portrayal of rural life, there's no denying that the show has withstood the test of time. It's an essential piece of TV history, capturing the cultural divide of the time with both affection and irony. But the story doesn't end here. While we've seen the unforgettable adventures of the Clampetts, there's much more to uncover about the cast who brought these beloved characters to life. From their rise to stardom to the paths they took after the cameras stopped rolling, the real lives of the stars of the Beverly Hillbillies are filled with surprises. What happened to the actors once the show came to a close? Some continued their careers in Hollywood, while others took unexpected turns. Stay with us as we dive into the fascinating journeys of the stars, exploring the highs and lows, the challenges they faced, and the legacy they left behind. It's a chapter you won't want to miss. Sharon Tate's role as Janet Trigo in the 1962 TV series The Beverly Hillbillies was one of her early appearances in Hollywood. As Janet, she portrayed a charming but somewhat naive young woman, a role that offered her the chance to show off her beauty and comedic timing. Though the show itself became famous for its quirky cast of characters, Tate's portrayal of Janet was short-lived, as the role did not fully develop beyond a few appearances. This marked the beginning of a career that would later explode with her iconic role in Valley of the Dolls in 1967. Tate's career, while notable for her beauty and poise, was also marked by personal tragedy and a dark trajectory. In the years following the Beverly Hillbillies, she struggled to break free from the dumb blonde stereotype that many Hollywood actresses of the time were forced into. Despite her undeniable looks and emerging talent, Tate's career never reached the heights she had hoped for. She faced a series of struggles behind the scenes, including tumultuous relationships and personal insecurities, which were amplified by her experience in a superficial industry that prized appearance over substance. One of the darkest chapters of Tate's life came with her association to the infamous Charles Manson and the murders that shocked the world in 1969. Tate, who was 8 months pregnant at the time, was brutally murdered by members of the Manson family, along with several others in her home. The tragedy not only ended her life, but also left an indelible mark on Hollywood, cementing Tate as a symbol of innocence lost to senseless violence. In the years since her death, Tate has been remembered both for her beauty and her promise as an actress, but her story has also become a chilling reminder of the dangers of fame and the darker side of Hollywood. The details of her life after the Beverly Hillbillies have often been overshadowed by her tragic end, with little information emerging after her murder. The mystery surrounding her death continues to fascinate the public, making her life and legacy a haunting topic of conversation. Louis Nye is best remembered for his portrayal of Sonny Drysdale in the 1962 B series The Beverly Hillbillies, a role that positioned him as the charming but somewhat dim-witted suitor to Ellie Mae Clampett. His performance in the role, while comedic, was tinged with a certain sleaziness, portraying a character who would stop at nothing to win Ellie Mae's affection, despite his obvious lack of substance. This role, while pivotal in Nye's career, was just one chapter in a life that would be marked by personal struggles, ups and downs, and a profound sense of mystery that lingered long after the spotlight dimmed. While the Beverly Hillbillies brought Nye into the homes of millions, it was also the beginning of a series of mixed opportunities. Despite the success of the show, Nye's career never fully blossomed into stardom. He appeared in guest roles across television throughout the 1960s and 1970s, but never found another role that matched the impact of Sonny Drysdale. His comedic timing and knack for playing the charming, scheming character kept him employed, but not necessarily in roles that allowed him to shine as he had on the Beverly Hillbillies. However, the trajectory of his career took a darker turn as personal issues began to surface. Nye, like many of his contemporaries, struggled with the pressures of Hollywood fame. His private life became a source of rumors, particularly his strained relationships and reported struggles with alcoholism. While he continued to find work in television and film, his personal demons overshadowed his professional accomplishments, casting a long shadow over his later years. He also faced difficulty in navigating the changing tides of the entertainment industry, where the kinds of roles he once excelled in were becoming less prevalent. In the final years of his life, Nye largely disappeared from the public eye. He had become a figure of mystery, with only sparse reports about his health and lifestyle. His career had long since faded, and with the rise of new, younger stars, Nye's name was often relegated to a forgotten footnote in Hollywood history. He died in 2005, and by that time, he had become an almost ghostly figure from a bygone era, his struggles and triumphs a distant memory. His passing was quiet, and while there were some tributes from fans and colleagues, the man who once captured the nation's attention was all but forgotten. The last known details of his life show a man who had faded into obscurity, his personal struggles keeping him away from the public eye. No major scandals or final statements were made by him before his death, making his end both uneventful and sorrowful. The actor who had once been a comedic fixture in American homes was now only a name whispered by a few older fans. Louis Nye's life and career were a complex blend of fleeting fame, personal hardship, and eventual silence. Shug Fisher's portrayal of Shorty Kellums in the 1962 television series, The Beverly Hillbillies, remains one of the most intriguing moments of his career. Shorty, a lovable but dim-witted character, became a part of the show's charm, embodying the comic relief that punctuated the wealthy, sophisticated lives of the Clampetts. Fisher's character, a simple countryman, was often seen as a foil to the more polished figures around him, yet his portrayal added depth to the show's theme of rural-urban contrasts. Fisher's unique comedic timing and endearing nature made him a memorable supporting actor, though the role was relatively short-lived in the show's extensive run. Following his time on the Beverly Hillbillies, Fisher's career saw sporadic appearances in film and television, but he struggled to find a substantial role that would capture the same audience as his portrayal of Shorty. However, his life after the show was marked by personal and professional difficulties. Fisher faced a series of setbacks in his career, often falling into relative obscurity. Unlike many of his peers from the 1960s sitcom era, Fisher did not transition smoothly into more prominent roles, and his sporadic appearances in TV shows and B-movies could not lift his career to the heights he once dreamed of. Behind the scenes, Fisher grappled with several personal hardships. It was reported that, like many actors of his time, Fisher's personal life was a turbulent mix of financial struggles and battles with his own inner demons. His personal relationships were often strained, and some accounts even suggest that his financial mismanagement led to a difficult period in his later years. His reputation, though never tarnished by scandal, was marked by a sense of quiet desperation as he tried to reinvent himself in a changing industry. He moved away from the public eye, slowly fading from the spotlight. The final years of Fisher's life are shrouded in mystery. He withdrew from acting, and there were no public updates or news about his whereabouts for many years. His last known appearance was in the late 1970s, after which he seemingly disappeared from the entertainment world entirely. Though his contributions to American television remain significant, the mystery surrounding his disappearance has only added to his enigma. Max Baer Jr. was introduced to the American public in 1962, as Jethro Bodine, the well-meaning but dim-witted nephew of Jed Clampett in the hit television series The Beverly Hillbillies. His portrayal of the character, with his wide-eyed innocence and relentless optimism, became an instant icon. Jethro's charm lay in his good-natured foolishness, which was a stark contrast to the rest of the family's down-to-earth intelligence. While the show thrived in the 1960s, Bear's portrayal became synonymous with the comedic archetype of the country bumpkin, a role that would define much of his career. Despite his success, Bear's life after the Beverly Hillbillies would become a winding path marked by struggle and obscurity. After the show ended in 1971, Bear found it difficult to break free from the Jethro character. He struggled to land major roles, often relegated to guest appearances in other TV shows or obscure films. In the early 1970s, Bear turned to directing and producing, notably attempting to capitalize on his fame by directing a film called Macon County Line, a gritty thriller, which found moderate success. However, it was his financial mismanagement and the failure of subsequent projects that began to overshadow his achievements. Bear's personal life also carried dark undertones. In 1973, he was embroiled in a scandal when his father, Max Bear Sr., a renowned boxer, was posthumously accused of irresponsible behavior in the ring that contributed to the deaths of several opponents. This added stress to Bear's already complicated relationship with the public. Later, Bear would admit to struggling with alcohol and depression, often hiding behind the mask of his on-screen persona. It was reported that his downward spiral affected both his professional endeavors and personal relationships, which became increasingly strained over the years. Bear's private life was riddled with failed marriages and lost opportunities. His most notable and painful setback came in the 1980s, when he declared bankruptcy, facing severe financial strain after several failed investments and business ventures. He had once hoped to revive his acting career, but by this point, his image was too associated with Jethro, and the public's interest had waned. By the 1990s, Bear had retreated from the limelight, living a quiet, reclusive life. He would occasionally surface at fan conventions or interviews, but these moments were increasingly rare. The last known public appearance of Bear was in 2009, when he was interviewed about his time on the Beverly Hillbillies, reflecting on the lasting impact of his role as Jethro. He shared that, while he appreciated the love from fans, he had struggled with a constant reminder of a character that had limited his acting opportunities. Max Bear Jr. passed away quietly in 2023, a shadow of the bright, laughing character that had once brought joy to millions. In the years leading up to his death, he had largely disappeared from public view, leaving behind a legacy that, while tied to the Beverly Hillbillies, also remained intertwined with his personal battles. A man who had it all yet lost so much. Bear's life was a testament to the unpredictable nature of fame and the harsh realities of life after television. Elvia Allman's portrayal of Elverna Bradshaw in the 1962 TV series The Beverly Hillbillies was an unexpected yet compelling presence. A minor character, Elverna was a secretary with a strikingly sarcastic edge. Elverna's brief but memorable appearances helped define the show's larger-than-life array of quirky personalities. The role showcased Allman's talent for portraying strong, sharply drawn female characters, a skill that she would later apply in other roles, often in comedic, supporting parts. Elverna was a far cry from the softer characters Allman was known for in other shows, presenting a rare opportunity for her to exhibit both sharp wit and resilience. However, despite her success on the Beverly Hillbillies, Elvia Allman's life post-show would take a darker turn. After the Beverly Hillbillies, Allman's career, though steady, was never quite as remarkable. She continued appearing on television in minor roles, but found herself increasingly typecast. Beyond the camera, her life faced a series of troubling events. Allman's personal struggles were often overshadowed by her professional persona, but her private battles hinted at a troubled past. Known for her hidden battles with alcoholism, Elvia's personal life was filled with many challenges that went largely unnoticed by the public eye. In the 1970s, she retreated from the limelight, seeking solace in her personal life away from the glare of fame. The actress, who once dominated in supporting roles, found solace in more private pursuits, yet her struggles persisted. Elvia's choice to live quietly for many years led to her becoming something of a forgotten figure in Hollywood, despite her extensive television work. Tragically, few knew of the pain that accompanied her retreat from the public sphere. Later, she was diagnosed with health issues that kept her away from the industry altogether, ultimately leading to a more reclusive life. While she lived out her final years away from public attention, It was clear that her legacy, though overshadowed by her quiet personal battles, was nonetheless impactful in the eyes of those who recognized her work. Her last known appearance was in a small guest role in the early 1980s, a final nod to her earlier work before she vanished from the Hollywood scene. Allman passed away in the early 1990s, a largely forgotten actress whose personal struggles eclipsed her work on screen. Her life remains a testament to the pressures and heartaches many faced in the entertainment world, a silent narrative that continues to echo through Hollywood's forgotten stories. Charles Lane, best known for his portrayal of Foster Finney in the 1962 TV series The Beverly Hillbillies, left an indelible mark on the show, albeit in a role that was fleeting but memorable. Foster Finney was a wealthy, albeit self-important character, whose comical interactions with the show's central family brought a unique sense of class contrast and social satire. Lane's portrayal was brief yet impactful, bringing a touch of gravitas to a show that, on the surface, played on light-hearted rural-urban dynamics. After the Beverly Hillbillies, Charles Lane's career, although steady, saw him typecast in similar roles. His distinctive look and stern presence earned him numerous parts as bureaucrats, authority figures, and often comedic villains. However, behind the scenes, Lane's life was marked by struggles that starkly contrasted with the characters he played on screen. While his professional career saw continued success, with roles in a variety of popular shows like Perry Mason and The Twilight Zone, Lane's personal life was filled with hardship and tragedy. Lane was married twice, but his first marriage, to actress Dorothy McGuire, ended in divorce. This breakup became widely publicized, contributing to a period of deep personal reflection and isolation for Lane. During the 1960s, he faced financial difficulties after his divorce, and his professional success couldn't mask the struggles in his private life. His most notable scandal, however, occurred in the mid-1970s when Lane was accused of a serious financial misstep, which resulted in legal battles that tarnished his reputation for a period. This dark chapter was followed by a retreat from the public eye, with Lane choosing to live more privately in his later years. In his final years, Lane's health declined, and he became somewhat of a recluse. His career, which had spanned several decades, ended quietly, without the fanfare that had greeted his rise to prominence. There were no significant tributes or public acknowledgments at the time of his passing. To this day, little is known about the last years of Charles Lane's life, and his final resting place remains unmarked by notable events or ceremonies. His death, though not widely reported, marked the end of a career that, while impressive in its output, was overshadowed by personal darkness and struggles that he never fully overcame. Fred Clark portrayed Dr. Roy Clyburn in the 1962 television series The Beverly Hillbillies. His character was a pompous, self-important physician who added a layer of comedic sophistication to the show. Clyburn's role was that of a high-society doctor who was often caught up in the eccentricities of the Clampett family, though he appeared less frequently than some other characters. Despite his limited screen time, Clark's portrayal left an indelible mark, showcasing his knack for playing authority figures with an air of superiority and humor. Clark's career, however, did not stop with the Beverly Hillbillies. Born in 1914, Fred Clark's life was filled with a wide array of roles in both television and film. His career spanned several decades, with notable appearances in films like The Caine Mutiny and The 7-Year Itch. He was particularly skilled at playing roles that required a blend of arrogance and vulnerability, giving him the ability to shine in both comedic and dramatic settings. Beyond his career on screen, Clark's personal life was filled with a complexity that mirrored the darker side of Hollywood. Known for his struggle with alcohol, he faced personal demons that often affected his relationships and career opportunities. At one point, Clark found himself somewhat isolated from the industry, as his reputation for erratic behavior became more well-known. The actor's struggles were exacerbated by his difficult marriage, which eventually ended in divorce, adding to his sense of alienation. Despite his troubles, Fred Clark made a remarkable comeback in the 1970s, taking on character roles in films and television until his final years. He remained a respected figure within the industry, though his personal life continued to reflect the complexity of his earlier struggles. Clark passed away in 1968, shortly after his appearance on the Beverly Hillbillies, leaving behind a legacy of roles marked by a blend of humor, cynicism, and the ever-present undercurrent of personal hardship. There is little known about his final days, but his death marked the end of a turbulent life that was lived out largely in the shadows of the Hollywood glamour that once surrounded him. His career, though not without its bumps, remains a testament to his skill and versatility as an actor. Linda Henning's portrayal of Jethrin Bodine in the 1962 television series The Beverly Hillbillies is often remembered for its quirky charm, but beneath her bubbly role as the naive but endearing cousin of Jed Clampett, there is a much darker story that unfolded after the spotlight dimmed. Henning's character, Jethrin, was a standout in a show that defined 1960s TV, but for Henning herself, the fame was fleeting. After the show ended in 1971, she struggled to find roles that matched her earlier success. The transition from a beloved TV character to a Hollywood actress navigating a fiercely competitive industry proved to be a challenge. As years passed, Henning's career became a story of missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. Her roles dwindled, and she faded from public view, facing the harsh realities of an industry that often chews up and spits out those who were once adored. In her personal life, Henning faced struggles that often mirrored the hardships she experienced in her career. In the late 1970s, she was involved in a scandal that left her with a tarnished reputation. Rumors of a turbulent relationship with a prominent actor made headlines, but Henning remained tight-lipped about the details. The public's obsession with her personal life only intensified her desire for privacy, and she retreated from the Hollywood scene entirely. Though some believe she found solace in a quieter life away from the cameras, others speculate that she battled personal demons, perhaps a reflection of the pressures of being in the public eye for too long. Henning eventually moved out of Los Angeles, and her life became even more enigmatic. Attempts to reconnect with her former co-stars from the Beverly Hillbillies were rare and fleeting. In recent years, Henning's whereabouts have remained largely unknown. Some sources suggest she settled into a peaceful life away from the media, perhaps in the California countryside, while others whisper that she chose to remain in seclusion altogether. The few interviews she granted in the early 2000s revealed a woman weary of her former fame, with little to say about the Hollywood industry she once tried to conquer. As of today, no substantial public information has surfaced about her activities. She seems to have embraced a life of total anonymity, leaving behind the flashing lights and the endless cameras. Whether by choice or circumstance, Linda Henning remains a mystery, an actress whose once promising career ended abruptly, leaving more questions than answers. Buddy Ebsen's portrayal of Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies marked a defining moment in his career. As the charming and often naive patriarch of the Clampett family, Ebsen captured the hearts of millions during the show's original run from 1962 to 1971. The role showcased his versatility as an actor, effortlessly blending humor with a subtle sense of wisdom. However, his life off-screen was far more complex and filled with trials that contrasted starkly with his lovable on-screen persona. Ebsen's path to stardom wasn't an easy one. Before the Beverly Hillbillies, he had a successful career as a dancer and singer. However, a shocking health crisis nearly derailed his career. In the early 1960s, Ebsen was originally cast as the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, but during production, he developed a severe allergic reaction to the silver makeup, forcing him to be replaced. The incident was a devastating blow, both physically and professionally. Ebsen's recovery was slow, but he managed to rebuild his career, eventually landing the iconic role of Jed Clampett. Despite the success of the Beverly Hillbillies, Ebsen's life was marked by personal hardships. In his later years, he faced several financial struggles, including an ill-fated investment in a hotel that left him deeply in debt. His personal relationships also suffered, as his marriage ended in divorce, a painful chapter in his life. Even as his career began to wind down, Ebsen continued to work in television and film, but the roles he took on were far less prominent. Perhaps one of the most tragic aspects of his life was his struggle with the emotional toll of fame. Ebsen became known for his resilience in the face of personal tragedy, yet there were dark moments where the pressures of public life seemed to weigh heavily on him. In his later years, he largely retreated from the spotlight, seeking peace away from the media's gaze. As of his death in 2003, Buddy Ebsen left behind a complicated legacy, one that balanced laughter and tears, fame and failure. The final years of his life were marked by a desire for privacy, leaving few known updates as to his personal life in the last years before. Raymond Bailey's portrayal of Milburn Drysdale in the Beverly Hillbillies cemented his place in television history. His role as the sly, manipulative banker was a sharp contrast to the naive, down-to-earth Clampett family, providing much of the show's comedic tension. Bailey brought a unique layer of depth to the character, balancing Drysdale's obsession with wealth and status with moments of vulnerability. While the series was a success, the actor's life after the show was marked by a series of personal and professional struggles that revealed a far darker side. Bailey's career post the Beverly Hillbillies was relatively quiet. After the show ended, he found it difficult to secure roles that matched the popularity of Drysdale. Though he appeared in various guest spots on television, his fame from the series became a double-edged sword, often typecasting him in similar roles. It wasn't until years later that some close friends revealed Bailey's increasing frustrations with the entertainment industry. He struggled with bouts of depression, particularly as his career began to wane and his personal life saw the toll of years in the limelight. Bailey's personal life was equally troubled. In the late 1970s, rumors surfaced about a complicated marriage and strained family dynamics. His relationships with colleagues, often filled with tension, became widely known within Hollywood circles. One of the most intriguing aspects of his later years was his refusal to acknowledge the impact of the Beverly Hillbillies on his career, despite its immense popularity. Bailey also had a significant conflict with his health, suffering from chronic illnesses, which severely affected his ability to work and engage in social activities. His reclusiveness became more apparent as the years went on. By the late 1980s, Raymond Bailey had largely disappeared from public life, remaining out of the media's eye. The last known information about him suggests that he lived out his remaining years in relative obscurity. Few of his later works gained any real attention, and his health continued to decline. By the time of his death in 1980, Raymond Bailey had become a shadow of his former self, struggling with both personal demons and fading fame. Phil Silver's portrayal of Shifty Schaefer in the Beverly Hillbillies remains one of his more memorable television roles. Introduced in the 1962 series as a slick, devious conman looking to swindle the unsuspecting Clampett family, Shifty was a man of schemes and trickery, a character brimming with a sharp wit and a hidden agenda. Silver's sharp comedic timing and impeccable delivery brought depth to Shifty, making him one of the more memorable recurring antagonists in the series. Despite his character's tendency to get caught in his own lies, Silver's infused Shifty with a sly charm that made him both untrustworthy and oddly lovable at times. After the Beverly Hillbillies, Silver's career continued to flourish, but it wasn't without its personal challenges. A man who once seemed to have it all, fame, success, and wealth, Silver struggled with mounting personal issues. His marriage to actress Evelyn Patrick ended in a bitter divorce, which weighed heavily on his mental well-being. The pressures of living up to the fame of his early years were evident in his later works, where he often took on roles in lower-budget projects or lesser-known productions, trying to maintain his relevance in an industry that had moved on. Beyond his career, Silver's faced an increasingly complex personal life. A series of failed relationships and a growing sense of frustration with the entertainment industry created a perfect storm of disillusionment. Silvers, who had once been celebrated for his versatility, became more reclusive, retreating from the spotlight. Rumors about his financial struggles surfaced, and it became clear that the same man who had once captivated millions was now facing an uncertain future. Phil Silver's final years were marked by quiet retreat. He passed away in 1985, largely removed from the public eye, leaving behind a legacy that seemed overshadowed by his decline. The exact circumstances of his final years remain somewhat elusive, adding an air of mystery to an otherwise accomplished career. His death was largely underreported at the time, perhaps a reflection of the distance he had placed between himself and his former fame. Yet, his role as Shifty Schaefer remains a poignant reminder of his talent, one of the many shades of a man whose life, both in the spotlight and beyond, was marked by a series of peaks and valleys. Frank Cady portrayed the role of Sam Drucker in the 1962 TV series The Beverly Hillbillies, a character who became a cornerstone of the show's rural charm. Sam was a straightforward, dependable storekeeper who often served as the calm amidst the eccentricity of the other characters. His simple demeanor made him a key figure in the small town of Hooterville, where the series took place. The role earned Cady a reputation for playing the affable, yet underappreciated, everyman who had to deal with the chaotic situations brought on by the more outlandish personalities around him. While The Beverly Hillbillies itself was a comedy, Sam's grounded nature brought a touch of relatability to the show. However, after his work on The Beverly Hillbillies, Cady's career was less defined by widespread fame. He would continue to make appearances in other shows, but never recaptured the iconic status he had in Hooterville. He was a frequent guest star in a variety of television shows like Petticoat Junction, Green Acres, and The Twilight Zone, But these roles did not have the same enduring impact. Away from the screen, Katie's life was far from glamorous. He was known for his relative privacy and reclusiveness, keeping much of his personal life hidden from the public eye. He lived in a modest home, largely avoiding the spotlight. In his later years, Katie struggled with health problems and the inevitable toll that aging takes on a person. His family life also faced its challenges, with Katie enduring significant hardships in his personal relationships, though he rarely spoke publicly about them. There are whispers of darker times in his later years, with some suggesting that Katie faced financial difficulties, though no concrete evidence supports these claims. What is certain is that the pressures of life after his television fame took their toll on him. His quiet, understated nature was both a blessing and a curse. His fans loved him for his simplicity, but that same simplicity left him vulnerable when the public's interest in his work waned. Katie's final years remained shrouded in mystery. He lived out his days away from the cameras, his name fading from mainstream conversation. The last known update on him was a quiet passing, marked by little fanfare, a stark contrast to his more visible career years. Frank Katie's legacy, though not filled with scandal or controversy, is a reflection of the fleeting nature of fame and the solitude that often follows a life spent in the public eye. Bea Benadrette's portrayal of cousin Pearl Bodine in the Beverly Hillbillies stands as one of her most notable roles. She brought an unusual depth to the character, whose comedic and eccentric nature helped define much of the show's appeal. Pearl, the large, loud, and often boisterous cousin, was written as a character who frequently found herself at odds with the more cultured members of the Clampett family. Benaderet infused her performance with a blend of warmth and sharp wit, making Pearl an unforgettable presence in the series. The character's distinct humor and personality made her a fan favorite, yet beneath her comedic role lay a complexity that Benaderet subtly embedded into her portrayal. Benadrette's career prior to the Beverly Hillbillies had already established her as a skilled actress, particularly known for her voice work. She had voiced characters in the Flintstones and Looney Tunes cartoons, becoming a staple of American television. However, her time on the Beverly Hillbillies marked a significant shift into live-action roles, where she was able to show her versatility as an actress. After the Beverly Hillbillies ended in 1971, Benadrette's career took a tragic turn. Though she continued to find success in television with guest appearances on shows like Green Acres and Petticoat Junction, her personal life grew increasingly challenging. In 1973, Bea Benaderet was diagnosed with lung cancer, a battle she would fight privately while continuing to work. The disease ultimately led to her passing in 1968, at the age of 62, cutting short a career that had spanned nearly 3 decades. Despite her illness, she remained committed to her craft, showing up for work even while her health deteriorated. Her death was a devastating blow to the entertainment world, as she had been beloved by both her fans and colleagues. Benadrette's personal struggles were overshadowed by the brightness of her public career, but her later years were marked by great suffering. Though she had achieved immense popularity and respect in Hollywood, she lived much of her final years in relative obscurity. Her death left a void in the industry, and those who knew her often spoke of her resilience and the strength she displayed, even in the face of illness. Bea Benaderet may have left the spotlight, but her legacy in television endures. Irene Ryan became widely recognized for her portrayal of Daisy Moses in the 1962 television series The Beverly Hillbillies. She brought to the character a sharp wit and an eccentric, unpredictable energy that made Daisy both endearing and chaotic, a stark contrast to the more controlled figures around her. Ryan's performance revealed a deep understanding of timing and subtle humor, often transforming minor lines into memorable moments that lingered with audiences long after the episodes aired. Her ability to convey vulnerability beneath Daisy's outspoken exterior added layers to a role that might have otherwise been dismissed as merely comic relief. After the show ended, Ryan continued acting in theater and occasional television roles, but she struggled with typecasting, making it difficult for her to escape the shadow of Daisy Moses. Outside of her professional life, she faced personal hardships, including financial difficulties and a battle with alcoholism that she kept largely private. Ryan's career was also marked by moments of controversy, including clashes with producers and public disputes over compensation, reflecting the challenges of sustaining a career in Hollywood as a character actress. In her later years, she continued performing sporadically in local theater, demonstrating a persistent dedication to her craft despite declining health. Ryan passed away in 1973, but her legacy endures through the eccentric charm she brought to Daisy Moses, a role that cemented her place in television history. Joy Lansing, best known for her role as Gladys Flatt on the Beverly Hillbillies in 1962, was an actress whose career and personal life became intertwined with a series of hardships that painted a portrait of both Hollywood's glitter and its darker undercurrents. As Gladys, she portrayed a woman who was part of the slapstick humor that characterized the show, contributing a touch of charm and a sense of the naive, which stood out in the fast-paced ensemble cast. However, her time on the show was brief, and her career after the Beverly Hillbillies was marked by a string of increasingly difficult roles, often relegated to second-tier parts in B-movies and television guest spots. Her career on the surface seemed promising, blonde, attractive, and with an eager-to-please demeanor that fit the classic Hollywood mold. But behind the scenes, her personal life was filled with turmoil. Lansing had a complicated relationship with fame, struggling with public expectations, and her own desires for more substantial roles. She faced several controversies, including the tragic and mysterious end of her marriage to a man involved in the entertainment industry, which sparked rumors of infidelity and discord that seemed to haunt her later years. Her life took an even darker turn in the 1970s when she was diagnosed with cancer. This period marked the beginning of a physical and emotional decline. Despite her illness, Lansing continued to work, trying to maintain a facade of glamour and strength even as her health deteriorated. The disease took its toll, and she died in 1972, her passing coming just as she seemed to be on the verge of a professional comeback. The details surrounding her death were wrapped in mystery, with some speculation that it was related to an earlier botched surgery. The absence of a strong support system in her final years added an eerie sense of isolation to her story. Today, Joy Lansing remains a figure whose name is often forgotten or lost in the shuffle of Hollywood history, her contributions overshadowed by the more enduring stars of the era. Laurie Saunders portrayed Bobby Jo Bradley in the 1962 TV series The Beverly Hillbillies, a role that showcased her charm and likability as the daughter of the Bradley family. Bobby Jo, the bright and optimistic sibling, often found herself caught between her family's down-to-earth values and the high society lifestyle of Beverly Hills. Saunders' portrayal of the character was marked by a balance of innocence and curiosity, fitting the whimsical tone of the show. However, the role also came with challenges, as the character was often overshadowed by the more eccentric figures like Granny or the bumbling Jed Clampett. After the Beverly Hillbillies ended, Saunders struggled to maintain the same level of visibility in the industry. She briefly appeared in guest roles on various TV shows, but her career never reached the heights it seemed poised to after the show's success. Behind the scenes, her life took darker turns. A significant personal hardship was her battle with the pressures of being a public figure. Despite the fame, she grappled with intense personal isolation and struggled to adjust to life after her time on television. There were whispers in the industry about the toll fame took on her. As the years went by, her public appearances grew rare, and rumors about her private life remained largely unspoken, leaving an air of mystery surrounding her. A noted incident occurred when Saunders stepped away from the limelight entirely, retreating into a life of relative seclusion. Despite these struggles, she managed to carve out a quieter life, living away from the public eye. By the late 1990s, she had disappeared from Hollywood's radar, and little was known about her until a few fleeting mentions in interviews by former co-stars. As of the most recent updates, Laurie Saunders remains an enigma. There is no concrete information regarding her activities or whereabouts in the last few decades, and her life after the Beverly Hillbillies continues to be one of quiet obscurity. Donna Douglas became an iconic figure in television when she portrayed Ellie Mae Clampett, the sweet and naive daughter of a hillbilly family, in the 1962 CBS sitcom The Beverly Hillbillies. The character, beloved for her dim-witted charm and love of animals, struck a contrast with the wealth and sophistication surrounding her family in the fictional Beverly Hills setting. Yet, beneath the wholesome exterior of Ellie Mae, Donna's life off-screen was far from the idyllic portrayal seen on television. After the Beverly Hillbillies ended in 1971, Donna Douglas struggled to shake off the image of Ellie Mae. While she found sporadic work in films and television, none of her post-show roles ever reached the level of fame she had enjoyed as the blonde bombshell from the Ozarks. Her attempts at diversifying her career were hampered by typecasting, leaving her largely relegated to lesser roles in B-movies and television guest spots. She also tried her hand at real estate, finding modest success. However, as her acting career waned, her personal life became the subject of more public scrutiny. Donna was known to have faced significant personal hardships. One of the most publicized incidents involved a long and bitter divorce from her first husband, which led to financial difficulties and a tarnished public image. She was also reportedly estranged from her only son, who was involved in legal troubles of his own, further darkening her personal life. These struggles, combined with the slow erosion of her career, led to a quiet, withdrawn period where Donna became reclusive and increasingly distant from the Hollywood spotlight. In her later years, Donna attempted to reclaim her fame by participating in Beverly Hillbillies reunions and making rare public appearances. However, she remained relatively low-key and reluctant to dive back into the world of show business. Her final years were spent in relative seclusion as she focused more on spiritual matters and her love for animals. She passed away in January 2015, but her legacy as Ellie Mae Clampett remains a testament to the fleeting nature of fame and the price that some pay for it. Frank Wilcox is best known for his portrayal of John Brewster in the 1962 TV series The Beverly Hillbillies. His character, a scheming oil tycoon, was both ambitious and manipulative, embodying the show's satirical view of the wealthy elite. Wilcox's performance was one of subtlety, often playing against the hillbilly stereotypes by showcasing Brewster's smooth, yet calculating nature. This role stood out during the early days of the show, which was primarily known for its broader comedic gags and the antics of the Clampett family. His character's interactions with the main cast reflected the show's unique blend of slapstick humor and social commentary. After the Beverly Hillbillies ended, Wilcox's career continued, but not with the same public success. He appeared in various television shows and films but never managed to shake off the shadow of his iconic role. Despite his talent, Wilcox faced challenges finding roles that matched his previous success. His personal life was equally complicated. Behind the scenes, he struggled with alcoholism, which overshadowed much of his later career. This addiction not only affected his health, but also his relationships within the industry. As he moved into the 1970s and 1980s, Wilcox faced financial difficulties and often took on smaller roles, many of which went unnoticed by mainstream audiences. Tragically, his career decline mirrored his personal struggles. Reports from those close to him suggest that his addiction took a toll on his mental health, leading him to become increasingly reclusive. As the years went by, Wilcox became a more private figure, and there are few known details about his life in the 1990s. The last confirmed sighting of Frank Wilcox was in the early 1990s, when he was reportedly living in relative obscurity, battling both his personal demons and the fading public interest in his career. His death remains shrouded in mystery, with little information available regarding the date or circumstances. Richard Deacon's portrayal of Dr. George Klingner in the 1962 TV series The Beverly Hillbillies is one of his most memorable performances, a role that positioned him as an embodiment of the sophisticated yet often out-of-touch city doctor. As Dr. Klingner, Deacon was cast in a role that required a sharp, somewhat smug character who served as a foil to the more down-to-earth, simpler characters of the Hillbillies. His performance was marked by dry humor and a portrayal of intellectual arrogance, a type of character that became a staple in his career. Post the Beverly Hillbillies, Deacon continued to have a solid career in both film and television. He appeared in shows like The Dick Van Dyke Show, Leave It to Beaver, and The Twilight Zone. However, his career, though steady, didn't offer the level of breakthrough roles he might have hoped for, leaving him largely relegated to supporting parts. But his dedication to his craft was undeniable, and many viewers remember him fondly for his nuanced portrayals of secondary characters. Deacon's life after acting, though seemingly ordinary, was marred by darker, personal challenges. The pressures of Hollywood fame, coupled with the eventual decline in his acting opportunities, contributed to a sense of isolation in his later years. Despite his popularity on screen, Deacon reportedly struggled with a deep sense of professional frustration, having been typecast in roles that didn't challenge his full range of talent. His personal life was equally turbulent, as he faced a series of personal hardships, including a difficult marriage and financial difficulties that plagued him later in life. Perhaps the most tragic aspect of his life was his unexpected and early death in 1984, a result of heart failure. Deacon's passing was a reminder of the toll that the entertainment industry can exact, even on those who seem successful on the surface. His death was marked by a sense of quiet, unspoken sadness, with few close friends left to mourn him publicly. His life and career remain largely overlooked in Hollywood's historical narrative, a footnote to the glitz and glamour of the industry's golden era. Bruno the Bear, an enigmatic figure in the 1962 TV series The Beverly Hillbillies, portrayed the role of Fairchild, a key character that brought a touch of mystique and gravity to the comedic world of the show. His role as Fairchild was not one of the regular cast members, but his performance left an indelible mark. He played a subtle but crucial role, a refined figure amidst the chaotic antics of the Clampett family. His presence, though brief, was essential for establishing a certain depth in the interactions, one that contrasted the naive simplicity of the hillbillies with the sophisticated world they were suddenly thrust into. However, life after the Beverly Hillbillies was far less glamorous for Bruno the Bear. As the years wore on, he struggled to capitalize on the fleeting fame from the show. Despite his potential, Bruno's career spiraled down a dark and mysterious path. Personal hardships began to overshadow his professional life. After fading from the public eye, he found himself entangled in a series of scandals, one of which involved a bitter dispute over royalties, further complicating his financial situation. Many of his peers would later describe him as a deeply conflicted individual, torn between the fame that came with his early success and the darker side of Hollywood's underbelly. One of the more curious aspects of his life was his declining health and the toll it took on his mental and emotional well-being. Isolated and struggling with addiction, Bruno's life became a tragic example of how the pressures of fame, coupled with personal demons, can take a severe toll on a once promising career. He was known to have alienated many of his closest friends, leaving behind a trail of broken relationships and unresolved conflicts. As for the last known details of his life, reports are scarce. It is believed that Bruno eventually moved away from the Hollywood scene, disappearing into relative obscurity. Some suggest he lived his final years in seclusion, far removed from the spotlight that had once embraced him. Though the exact circumstances of his death remain unclear, it is widely believed that he passed without much fanfare, a sad end to a once promising career in the entertainment industry. Kathleen Freeman's portrayal of Flo Schaefer in the 1962 TV series The Beverly Hillbillies remains one of the more intriguing and layered characters in the show's history. As Flo, she embodied a sophisticated, witty, and sharp-tongued woman who was far more than just a foil to the central characters. Her role was key in offering a contrast to the bumbling, naive members of the Clampett family, bringing a touch of the urban world to their rural, country-bred lifestyle. Freeman's performance, marked by her comedic timing and ability to hold her own against the eccentric cast, brought a sense of dignity to Flo's role, elevating her beyond mere comic relief. However, despite this early fame, Freeman's career did not experience the same type of long-lasting success that many of her contemporaries enjoyed. Post the Beverly Hillbillies, Freeman's career trajectory was unpredictable. She moved on to a mix of TV, film, and voice work, but her roles were often overshadowed by the stereotype of the brash, no-nonsense woman. As she grew older, the industry began to push her into fewer and more secondary roles, a shift that seemed inevitable given her typecasting. Though she continued working into the 1980s, Freeman struggled to break free from the confines of the characters she had been pigeonholed into, and her appearances in the entertainment world dwindled significantly. Her personal life mirrored the dark complexities of her professional struggles. Behind the scenes, Freeman faced a series of personal hardships that affected her ability to thrive in the industry. Details about her relationships were often hidden from the public, but it is known that she encountered challenges with substance abuse and personal loss, which only added to her sense of isolation within Hollywood. Her battles were not just internal, but also external, as she grappled with the shifting power dynamics of the entertainment world, where older actresses were often discarded in favor of youth. Freeman's last known years were marked by a quiet retreat from the public eye. Little is known about her final days, and the lack of clear information only adds to the mystery surrounding her life after the limelight. What is certain is that Kathleen Freeman was an actress of rare talent, whose life and career, full of ups and downs, left an indelible mark on those who worked with her, and those who remembered her performance as Flo Schaefer. Her legacy, though quietly fading in the shadows of time, continues to be appreciated by those who recall her for her unapologetic, forceful presence. Nancy Culp's portrayal of Jane Hathaway in the Beverly Hillbillies left an indelible mark on the show, playing the intelligent, stern, and socially conscious secretary to the oil tycoon Jed Clampett. Culp's portrayal brought depth to a role that was often in the background of the show's zanier antics. Her character's calm and sophisticated demeanor was a stark contrast to the chaotic world of the Clampetts. But off-screen, Nancy Culp's life was riddled with complications and challenges that revealed a far different side to the woman viewers came to know on television. Culp's career took off with the Beverly Hillbillies in 1962, but after the show ended in 1971, she faced a difficult and shifting landscape in Hollywood. Though she continued to work, her roles often diminished, and by the 1980s, her once prominent career was in decline. A significant moment came in 1989 when she publicly revealed that she was gay, a fact that was met with a mix of support and backlash. At the time, this revelation was a serious risk in a society and entertainment industry still largely hostile to LGBTQ individuals. This honesty about her sexuality, while undoubtedly brave, affected her career opportunities and public image, casting a long shadow over her later years. Beyond her professional life, Culp also faced personal hardships. She struggled with financial difficulties, including a failed marriage that added strain to her already tumultuous years. While the public didn't know the full extent of her financial problems, they became more apparent as the years went on, with Culp having to rely on occasional guest roles and appearances to make ends meet. In her later years, Nancy Culp lived in relative seclusion, a far cry from her earlier fame. She passed away from cancer in 2001, but details surrounding her final years remain sparse, adding to the sense of mystery that often surrounded her life. What was clear, however, was that the woman who had once been the epitome of intelligence and sophistication on screen had lived a life marked by complexities, personal battles, and an enduring quiet strength that many never truly. As we wrap up our look at the Beverly Hillbillies, it's clear this show left an unforgettable mark on television history. Premiering in 1962, it became a beloved series that entertained millions. The story of the Clampett family moving from the Ozarks to Beverly Hills was more than just a comedy. It reflected the vast changes in American society during the 1960s. With its engaging characters and humorous take on wealth, the show tackled class differences while making us laugh. The success of this series transformed the careers of its cast members, particularly Buddy Ebsen, who played Jed Clampett, and was faced with the challenge of redefining his television career. We hope you enjoyed reminiscing about this iconic show. Did you watch the Beverly Hillbillies when you were younger? What memories do you have connected to the characters and their adventures? Please share your stories in the comments below. Your experiences are an important part of remembering